In this module, we're going to talk about lists. Now, a list in Python is a sequence of numbers, maybe a sequence of integers like whole numbers, a sequence of floating point numbers, fractional numbers, decimal numbers. Those are all floating point numbers. Maybe a list of strings. It could be a list of really anything. Because up until this point, if you wanted to pull a number of records from a file or read a lot of data from a database, you might have to create, 20 different variable names, 100 different variable names if you wanted to have 100 different numbers? Well, that's not really scalable, and there has to be a better way. And there is. Because in Python, we can create a list like this. This is an empty list, but that really doesn't do much for us. So let's put some information in it. Let's put in blue and red and orange and black. And this is a list. So you consider this maybe slot 1 and slot 2 and slot 3, slot 4. We can make other lists as well. Let's say even numbers. Make a list like this. 8 and 10, right? So that's a list of 5. Here we had a list of 4. These are whole numbers or integers. About some floating point numbers. There's no reason why we can't do that. 4.8, 3.9. Maybe these are movie ratings, and maybe the highest rating is a 5, lowest rating is a 0. So these are all lists, and we could put in thousands, tens of thousands, millions of items in a list, or maybe just one item in the list. So one question is, how do you get access to the list? Well, one way, and this is not, you can't really do a lot with this, but this is one way to display a list. It'll put commas in, so it'll become a kind of a comma delimited list or a comma separated list. And you see it printed here. That's really not that useful, though. What's a lot more useful is using a for each loop or an abbreviated loop here. Let's see, for color in colors, print color. Let's see what this does. Whenever we run this, we will see each color printed: red, blue, orange, and black, which is what we would think, because this is a sequence of data. It's a list. And you remember what happens here with the for loop. This is the list, colors is the list, and then color, the first time through the loop is red, the second time through the loop, color is blue, the third time through the loop, color is orange, and the last time through the loop, color is black. So color is just a temporary variable. It's a temporary spot to hold the data while we do something else with it, like we could print it, we could store it in a database, we could save it in a file. The possibilities are really endless. But this is a lot more useful than this, being able to grab a handle to each string or item or list element, if you will, whatever you want to call these. It's a lot more useful than simply grabbing the whole comma delimited, list and printing it. Usually we're going to do this latter here because we want to do something specifically with each item in the list, not have the list as a whole. So what about this? What about for number and even numbers? We can print each number. And by the way, there's nothing magical about this variable name or that variable name. Now, we're stuck with colors, right? Because the list is called colors. We'd have to change it in 2 places. But this variable name here and this variable name here, we can call this anything. We can call it XYZ. It doesn't matter what we call it. Just like any variable name. You can name any variable name anything you want. Doesn't mean you should. You probably should choose descriptive variables, the names that describe what you're doing, so it's easier to read. Makes sense that if it's a list of numbers, then you would call each one a number. If it's a list of colors, call each one a color. It makes sense. And you should name your variables in a way that makes sense. So if we run this, let's go ahead and comment this out. If we run this, it'll, exactly as you would expect, it'll pull those numbers out for you and print them. Now, interestingly, what if we wanted to, on this ratings one, let's look at this rating ones. For rating in ratings, rather than just printing these out, we've done that before, you know, we can total up the data, can't we? We can say sum equals sum plus the rating. So each time this runs, sum will first be 4.8, and then it'll be 3.9, and then it'll be 5.0, and then 4.5. Each loop, rating becomes a different number. And while we have each individual number in our hand, so to speak, we're going to add it to sum. And we have to have sum right here because the first time through the loop, sum is 0, so it doesn't matter. But the next time through the loop, sum will be 3.9, and rating will be 3.9, and sum will already be set to 4.8. So we want to add those two together. We're always going to add the value of sum plus the value that we just got from the rating. So by doing this, when we're done here, we can print sum and see what it is. And actually, I think we still have some stuff up here printing as well. Let's comment that out and run it again. 18.2 is our sum. What about an average? In Python, you can print the length of a list. In this case, the list name is ratings. Let's comment this out for a moment. We can print out the length of the list. And you say, well, I know how many is in the list. I can count right here. Yeah, but lists can change. We can add data to the list, and not just up here. We can add it later in our program. Or we can delete items as well. So if that happens, then we can't guarantee the size. We have to have some programmatic way of finding the length of a list, and this is how you do it. So with that in mind, an average is, let's print this like this. An average is sum divided by the number of items. Okay, so with that in mind, we would just say average, and we would print sum divided by the length of ratings, the ratings list. This will always return the current length of the list. So whenever we run this, we should get the average. It looks like I've got an error here. So let's see, what are we complaining about? I see the issue. I commented out that. Now if we run this again, that looks better. Before it was saying it had no idea what I was talking about with sum, and I was a little confused because I knew I defined sum, but I had it commented out. So looking at this, we can see the average is 4.55 because the average is the sum divided by the length of the list. So this is one way. This is proving to you that you can loop through a list and then do something. You can get the information and print it like we did up here. You can do some calculations with it, like sum it up. You can do other things as well. It just depends on what you need to do. Maybe you're looping through a file, and so you're going to store the information in a list. That's quite common. So let's go a step further here. Let me comment this out and all of this. I think we're done with this for a little while. So let's look at, back to our colors. Let's take, we still have it up here, but let's just comment this out because I don't like referencing something we can't see anymore. Let's bring it down here so we can see a little better. Let's look at what's going on behind the scenes in a list here. Two, three. So whenever we store data in each slot, remember we talked about these being slots. We might call this 1, 2, 3, and 4, but the computer calls this position 0, position 1, position 2, and position 3. You can call them a position, you can call them an index, or maybe you call it an index position. It doesn't really matter your exact terminology as long as you understand that the computer thinks this is position 0. So in index position 1, blue is stored. In index position 3, black is stored. Orange is stored in index position 2. And we can reference these positions directly, just like this. If we print this, it prints red first because we're referring to it by position. In position 2, what is in position 2? Well, orange is. So when we number these, even though you might look at this and say 1, 2, and 3, and 4, computer always starts at 0. This is called zero base. So lists are zero based. And that's not just true in Python. That's true in pretty much every programming language that I'm familiar with. It's very common. And it can be confusing for some students, especially the first time that they hear this. So we can do other things with this idea as well. We can say, let's take, calling this an index for index and range. And again, we don't know how many items there are in colors. Let's just see, there's 4, but there could be 5 in the future. And so we're going to get the length of the list programmatically, which is 4. If it helps you, we can just put 4 right here, because that's what it is right now. There's 4 items in the list. And if we said if index equals blue, what do you think this does? When this loops through, it's going to start with 0. Index is starting with 0. And so index is 0. And so if color's 0, right, we can just write it here to help us mentally trace what's going on. If colors is 0, so color 0 is what? Red? So really what this is saying is does red equal blue? No, it does not. The next time through, index is going to become 1. Does blue equal blue? Yes. So at that point, we're saying turn this index into green. Replace blue with green. That's what we're doing here. The next time through, index is 2. And does orange equal blue? No. The next time through, it pulls black because index is equal to 3. And black is being compared here. Does black equal blue? No. So if we run this, and maybe we should just go back up here for a moment, and maybe we should print colors, so you have that as a base point, and then print colors. I see the problem right there. Now let's run it again. I made a mistake, and it's an easy mistake to make. This is for quality testing, and this is to set something equal. This is an assignment operator. So here, I have changed the color of blue to green in this list. This was before, and this is after. And we did that by looking at the index value. We started at 0, and we grabbed whatever's in position 0, which was red. It didn't equal blue. The next time through, we grabbed 1, or the content of position 1, and that was blue. And it did equal blue, so we changed it to green.